Have you ever walked into a room and felt tired before touching anything? That heaviness you feel isn't the clutter. It's something deeper, something most people never think to remove first. And until you let go of this one invisible thing, no amount of organizing will ever feel like enough. Today, I'm sharing what Granny knew that changed everything. If you enjoy calm living and simple resets, you'll feel at home here. Subscribe. Let's talk about the real reason decluttering fails. Today, I'll share the one invisible barrier that keeps decluttering from working. 3 gentle mindset shifts that make letting go easier. And one quiet rule Granny lived by without ever naming it. Stay until the end. The last insight is small, but it makes everything else lighter. This isn't about organizing tips. It's about releasing what's been holding you back all along. Most people think decluttering is about sorting through belongings. They buy bins, watch organizing videos, and start with the closet or garage. But 3 weeks later, the same spaces feel heavy again. The same piles reappear, and they blame themselves for not being disciplined enough. Here's what's really happening. The problem isn't your things, it's the guilt wrapped around them. Every item you've kept carries a small story. The dishes from your wedding you never use. The clothes that might fit again someday. The gifts from people who meant well. You're not holding on to objects, you're holding on to obligations, memories, and the fear of disappointing someone, even if they're no longer here. Granny understood this deeply. She kept very little, but what she kept mattered. She didn't struggle with clutter because she released something most people never do. And that's what we're talking about today. The one thing you must remove first, or decluttering, will never work. The one thing you must remove first. The first thing you must remove isn't an object. It's not the stack of magazines in the corner or the boxes in the basement. It's the belief that keeping something proves you care. That's the invisible weight. The idea that letting go of a gift means you're ungrateful. That donating your mother's china makes you a bad daughter. That clearing out old paperwork means you're erasing your history. This belief is what makes every decluttering attempt feel like a moral test. You stand in front of a closet full of clothes you haven't worn in years, and instead of asking if they serve you, you ask if letting them go makes you wasteful. You hold a vase someone gave you decades ago, and instead of noticing you've never liked it, you feel guilty for even considering donation. This isn't about being sentimental. It's about carrying obligation disguised as love. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Keeping everything doesn't honor anyone. It just buries what actually matters under layers of guilt. Granny knew this instinctively. She didn't keep 12 sets of dishes to prove she appreciated gifts. She kept 3 good plates because that's what she needed. She didn't save every card, every letter, every token from her past. She kept what reminded her of love and released everything that felt like duty. That's the difference. Love feels light, duty feels heavy. And most of what we're holding on to isn't about love at all. It's about not wanting to face the discomfort of disappointing someone who isn't even watching anymore. So before you touch a single drawer, ask yourself this. Am I keeping this because it brings me peace? Or because letting it go feels like breaking a promise I never actually made? That question changes everything. Because once you realize that gratitude doesn't require storage, that honoring someone's memory doesn't mean preserving every object they touched, that your home exists to support your life now and not prove your past, suddenly letting go becomes possible. Not easy, but possible. And that's where the real reset begins. This isn't about throwing things away recklessly. It's about releasing the belief that you owe your space to everyone except yourself. When you remove that belief first, everything else becomes lighter. The dishes become dishes. The clothes become clothes. The gifts become objects you're free to evaluate honestly. And for the first time, decluttering stops feeling like loss and starts feeling like relief. Shift. 1. Gratitude doesn't require storage. Let's start with the hardest truth. You can thank someone for their thoughtfulness and still release the object. The love was in the giving, not the keeping. When someone hands you a gift, the moment of connection is complete right there. Their intention was to bring you joy, not to create a lifelong storage obligation. But somewhere along the way, we started believing that keeping something forever is how we show appreciation. That's not true, and it's costing you peace. Think about the gifts sitting in your home right now that you've never used. The decorative items that don't match your style. The kitchen gadgets you don't need. The books you'll never read. You keep them because someone thought of you. But here's the question. Does keeping them honor that person, or does it just create clutter that quietly stresses you every time you see it? Granny understood this in a way most people today don't. She kept 3 good plates, not 12 mediocre ones. She honored what mattered by choosing carefully, not by keeping everything. When someone gave her something she didn't need, she thanked them genuinely, used it if it served her, and quietly passed it along if it didn't. She didn't announce it. She didn't feel guilty. She simply knew that her home wasn't a museum for other people's choices. And that's the shift you need to make. Gratitude is a feeling, not a storage system. You can be deeply thankful for someone's kindness and still recognize that the object itself doesn't serve your life. Donation isn't rejection, it's circulation. When you pass something along, you're allowing it to be useful to someone who actually needs it, instead of letting it gather dust in your home out of obligation. Here's a gentle way to practice this. Choose one gift you've kept purely out of guilt. Hold it. Thank the person in your mind or out loud. Acknowledge their thoughtfulness. Then ask yourself honestly, does this object bring me joy or does it bring me duty? If it's duty, you already have permission to let it go. The gratitude happened when you received it. You don't owe anyone a lifetime of storage. And the person who gave it to you, they wanted you to be happy, not burdened. Releasing their gift with thanks is more honest than keeping it with resentment. Shift 2. Your space is for you now. Here's something nobody says out loud. Your home doesn't exist to prove your past. It exists to support your present. And if your present self is drowning in belongings that belong to an earlier version of your life, something needs to change. This shift is about recognizing that you're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to stop displaying things that no longer reflect who you are. You're allowed to let go of belongings that once mattered but don't anymore. Your home isn't a time capsule. It's a living space meant to serve the person you are today, not the person you were 20 years ago. Think about the items filling your shelves and closets right now. How many of them represent a version of yourself that no longer exists? The hobby you tried once and never returned to. the formal dinnerware you used when you hosted large gatherings, before life got quieter. The clothes from a different season of life that no longer fit your body or your routine. These things aren't bad. They're just outdated. And keeping them doesn't preserve those memories, it just clutters the life you're actually living right now. Granny understood this better than most. When her children grew up and moved out, she didn't keep their rooms as shrines. She repurposed the space for what she needed in that season. When she stopped hosting large dinners, she didn't keep service for 12. She kept what matched her actual life and released the rest without guilt. That's not cold, that's practical. And it's rooted in self-respect. Your space should reflect and support the life you're living today. Not the life you think you should be living, or the life you once lived. So here's the shift. Give yourself permission to curate your home for your current reality. If you no longer entertain large groups, you don't need 12 place settings. If you no longer sew, the fabric stash can go to someone who will use it. If you're not going back to that size, those clothes can bless someone else right now. This isn't about giving up. It's about being honest. And honesty is the kindest thing you can offer yourself. Your home isn't a museum of who you used to be. It's a sanctuary for who you are now. And when you start treating it that way, everything becomes lighter. The guilt fades. The obligation lifts. And you finally have space to breathe or shift. 3. Clearing space creates calm. Here's something most people don't realize. Every item in your home asks for a small piece of your attention, even if you don't consciously notice it. That stack of magazines you keep meaning to read. The drawer full of batteries and cords you're not sure you need. The closet full of clothes you haven't worn in years. Each one is a tiny unfinished decision, a small mental task waiting to be resolved. And when you multiply that by hundreds of objects, your mind never fully rests, even in your own home. That's why some spaces feel heavy even when they look clean. It's not about dust or disorder. It's about the mental weight of unresolved things. And that weight is exhausting. Granny didn't keep much, and it wasn't because she was poor or deprived. It was because she understood something essential. Less stuff means less noise. Not physical noise, mental noise. Every object you keep is a small responsibility. You have to clean it, store it, move it, remember it. And when you're surrounded by things that don't serve you, your mind is constantly negotiating with your environment instead of resting in it. That's not peace. That's low-grade stress. And it's completely avoidable. When you remove what doesn't belong, something shifts. Suddenly, you can see your counters. You can find what you need. You can move through your home without navigating around piles and projects. And more importantly, your mind can finally exhale. That's the real gift of decluttering. Not the aesthetic, but the ease. The feeling of walking into a room and not feeling instantly overwhelmed. The relief of opening a drawer and knowing exactly what's inside. The quiet joy of having space that breathes. This isn't minimalism for the sake of trends. It's creating an environment that supports rest instead of demanding energy. And that's something every person deserves, especially in this season of life. So here's the shift. Start noticing how your space makes you feel. Not how it looks, how it feels. Walk into your bedroom. Does it feel restful, or does it feel like a storage unit? Open your kitchen cabinets. Do they feel manageable, or do they feel like a puzzle? Sit in your living room. Does it feel like a sanctuary, or does it feel like a waiting room full of unfinished business? Your space should support you, not exhaust you. And the only way to create that is to release what's taking up room without giving back. When your home grows quieter, your thoughts follow. That's not a luxury. That's dignity. The reveal. Granny's truth. Here's what most people don't realize. Decluttering isn't about letting go of things. It's about trusting yourself again. Trusting that you know what matters. Trusting that releasing guilt doesn't make you selfish. Trusting that a lighter home doesn't mean a smaller life. Our grandmothers didn't keep less because they had less. They kept less because they knew what mattered, and they weren't afraid to let go of the rest. They understood that holding on to everything out of obligation isn't love. It's fear. Fear of judgment, fear of forgetting, fear of being seen as ungrateful or wasteful. But the truth is, the people who loved you wanted your happiness, not your burden. And every item you're keeping out of guilt is stealing space from the life you could be living right now. That's Granny's truth. She didn't declutter to impress anyone. She cleared space so her life could breathe. And that's the gift she's offering you today. So here's your takeaway. Before you clear a single drawer, clear the belief that keeping everything proves something. That belief is the real clutter. Everything else is just stuff. This stage of life isn't about doing more. It's about carrying less. It's about releasing the weight of other people's expectations and finally honoring your own peace. When your home grows quieter, your thoughts follow. And that's when you'll finally feel the space breathe again. You don't need permission from anyone to let go. You already have it. The only person who needs to approve of your choices is you. And if an item doesn't bring you peace, usefulness, or genuine joy, you're allowed to release it, no explanation needed. Start small. Start today. And trust that the lightness you're seeking is already waiting on the other side of one honest decision. If this brought you a little calm, like the video and share it with someone who needs it. Let me know in the comments. What's one thing you've been holding on to out of guilt? You're not alone in this. Subscribe if you enjoy simple resets and honest conversations about this season of life. Granny will be back next week with more quiet wisdom. Until then, may your home feel a little lighter.